of the statement, he has not stepped across the legal line in 3 years. How can we punish him today for what happened when he was 19 or 20 or 21 or whatever? And
I think this is from 2022.
These cases were already pending when the court considered everything and placed him on probation. He has not disappointed you. He has not disappointed probation. He has not disappointed anyone. His employer loves him. He is a hard-working, sober, contributing member of this community. To throw his life away and give him 10 years in prison, Judge, I don't see what good would come out of that, because he has demonstrated that he not only can talk the talk before you today, he's walked it. Every step, Judge, he's walked with you, with your probation office. I mean, thank you. He's not who he was because of this court. And now, at the last minute, to pull the rug out from under him and say that we need now to protect society from what you did back before I gave you probation, I don't see the logic in that. What purpose would be served to incarcerate a middle-aged man who admitted that he was a young, want to be the person who did not respect the law?
He wasn't young, because this is in 2022, so it was 2 years ago. He tells me he's in his 30s.
Correct.
So doing young and dumb things is usually teenagers, not people who are in their late 20s. That,
yes, I understand.
for the court, that argument, I'm young and I'm dumb and I'm in my late 20s and I can't control my impulses, that's usually for teenagers.
Sure. And that statement was going to all of that history that was brought up by the state, in Denver, Colorado, and here and there and everywhere. That's where that statement was going. Judge, he admitted his guilt. He came before this court. These cases have been pending a long time, and he has never absconded from the jurisdiction of this court. He's never missed a court date or a court hearing. And, he has patiently waited for this day to arrive, and it has. And I just would ask the court to consider the good that this court has done in this man's life, and why, throw the baby out with the bathwater at this time, Judge. It's 10 years of probation. He's done so far so good. You can still give him the 10 years the state wants you to give him today. You can give it to him tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the state?
Judge, again, these few cases that you have before you, you didn't have this information whenever you decided to give them probation the last time. It's because they were still pending. They hadn't been indicted yet. There was no movement on them. Now that they have come forward, this is what we offered based off of the facts that are in these cases. Again, the court did not have these before. You have them now. You have the ability to take this into consideration. This isn't a teenager who's making bad decisions. This is a grown adult. It's a grown man. He made these choices, and the consequences that both of them.
All right, thank you. All right, so Deputy Mejia, Deputy Laura, if you'll take him into custody, and counsel, you need to be back here at 11, and the court will make its decision.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so we're back on the record in 2024 CR 4259W and 2024 CR 4260W. State of Texas versus Renee Angel Cantu. Can I have parties re-announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garrett, Your Honor.
For the defense?
Roy Barrera Jr.
And you're Mr. Cantu?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Why are you banging on the walls in the back?
my ankle monitor was going off 5 separate times. Officer Mejia heard me or heard it. I was like putting it on the door. Just so I didn't want to get in trouble. It would be my very first violation in like 3 years. But Miss Priscilla Valadez is my officer. If you could please tell her.
No, that's not what we heard in the back.
Yeah,
That it wasn't related to your GPS. It was you bamming on walls.
no, it was me shaking the door to get his attention. But yeah, I think my thing's dead now and I don't want to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else?
Your Honor, he has probably never focused on doing what is right for as long a period of time as you've had him on probation as well as on your conditions of bond. It's amazing.
Look, it's good enough right now.
Yes,
It just started to get it.
okay. It's amazing the turnaround that he has done. It's working full time, out of the I guess the situation, the friends that he was keeping, all of that, Judge. But he'll be the first to tell you it was you and this court, and it was your probation officers who have guided him and mentored him and advised him and counseled him all the way through. So I don't know that he could have done any of this without being under, your watchful eye and that of probation. You generally have some kind of excuses about ankle monitors, and typically, at least in 3 years, you'd think that you have some, even though it was just an accident, some violation, however minuscule. But gosh, I don't know how more perfect that you could get than perfect as far as his behavior and his record. And in view of the fact that, as you can see, he looks perfectly healthy. This is a life of no alcohol and no drugs, and just really getting a grip on the fact that he knows what prison's all about, Judge. He's been there. He knows what jail's all about. He's been in many. And he knows what his father's gone through, and he's still there. So I think he's really just made a world of improvement over his personal life. And because of all that you've done, professionally speaking, all the people he could blame, all the excuses he could have, he's got them if he wanted to use them. And you've never, ever heard him tell you anything about his past. His past is very checkered, no question. But also, the hand that he was dealt was not straight aces. He's made the best with deuces, and he's climbing out of a deep hole, Judge. And he wants to continue to climb that ladder all the way out and stay out. So I would hope that you would consider all the good that he's been able to accomplish and allow him the opportunity to continue doing what's right, what's good, what's healthy. You can just look at him. He's living a healthy life. Well, it's true.
Yes.
All right. Anything from the state? All right. So
That's something.
here's the thing. Mr. Garahan, I know you're not the one who worked out this agreement. And this is why the court likes for cases to move quickly enough so that everybody No violation of due process will occur. Because many a times I will have people who come before me and cases have been transferred from other courts where somebody's on their fourth or fifth DWI. And they come to me and it's been transferred to my court. And this person has been on ignition interlock for 4 years because I end up with an old case that's been transferred from another court. And then what ends up happening is people will argue to me, this person has been in rehab for 2 years. Everything is going well for them. You know, isn't punishment about rehabilitation? And that's true. Punishment is about rehabilitation, but it's also about punishment. He was placed on probation by this court in another case, 2022 CR 11790. And he was placed on probation in that case because parties proceeded on it as a possession case. Let me check to make sure. Yes, parties proceeded on it as a possession case, and the state was silent. And while these other 2 cases were pending, that's when the plea was entered into. The court did not receive.
This is where the judge flips the tone completely. She calls him out hard, saying drug dealers build their happiness on other people's misery. No sugarcoating, no sympathy. It's one of those moments where the whole courtroom goes quiet because, yeah, that truth hits heavy.
Information about these 2 cases, because I'm assuming, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, labs were not in, so no one knew what the drugs were, would be positive for. And no information was presented to the court in the sentencing for the 2022 CR 11790 case, the weight of these drugs, what these drugs were for, because again, nobody had information on that. And the laboratory reports were not in. So hopefully more money will be spent in improving how long it takes for drug testing to come back, so we won't have a situation that we have now. So now what I have before me is I have a situation where somebody is on probation. The court hasn't received any violations of probation because these cases were pending when he was placed on probation. So technically that is not a violation. And in these 2 cases, you're a drug dealer. That's it. And you are building your happiness off somebody else's misery because drugs destroy lives and people who are drug dealers are doing it for a quick buck.
Correction, Your Honor, I do not
No,
do that
do not
anymore.
interrupt me.
Yes, ma'am.
You were dealing drugs.
Yes, I was.
You were building your happiness off somebody else's misery. There are people who are out there for whatever reason, maybe they're young, they don't know any better, and they start taking drugs, and the next thing you know, they can't kick them.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you have some people who are in their 30s, they start using drugs, and then they can't kick them.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is destroying people's lives, and this was drug dealing.
Yes, ma'am.
Why the federal government has not come to your doorstep, I don't know. This is state jurisdiction, so I'm just dealing with what I have before me here. Under normal circumstances, all things considered, if you just had these 2 cases and you're not on probation with the court, I'd send you to prison. But you're on probation. And so I have to deal with what I have here.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what the court is going to do. In each case, the court is finding you guilty. The court is sentencing you to 10 years in the prison. That will be suspended and probated for 10 years. These cases will run concurrently. Take in consideration CM 104043, NITMAG number 712122, and 712121. You're going to remain on GPS until further notice.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's GPS until further notice. Probation. I'm going to want random field visits until further notice. And there's to be field visits no less than 2 months. no less than every 2 months. I'm going to order the MRT,
I didn't hear that.
MRT,
What is that, Judge?
moral recognition therapy.
Okay.
There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. The UA hotline until further notice. And probation, the UA hotline, he needs to be tested at least once a month, and it's random. But if you all want to test him more than that, you can test him more than that. There should be proof of employment within 30 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. And based upon what you said your occupation is, they need to know what you're on probation for. And they need to provide a letter to probation stating that you've informed them what you're on probation for. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. It's already in file. They have, I was 10 steps ahead. I already had it from my boss.
Yeah. All right. You need to turn it over to probation.
Yes, ma'am.
And probation, you need to call his employer to make sure that that's the employer. There's going to be 200 hours of community service restitution. Probation, is there anything else? And state, do you know if there's any restitution for, I'm going to put restitution for drug testing. All right, and there's going to be restitution for drug testing, and each cost.
Which
I think the DEA are the ones who did that. Let me double check. I think it would be the United States government, and we'll see who wants it as far as the funds. All right, and probation, is there anything else?
okay.
Anything else? All right, and also you're not, just 1 second, and also you're not allowed to possess any scales. So you're gonna have to figure out how else to weigh yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Probation? Yes, counsel?
Yes, Judge, are the 3 probations running concurrently?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
Thank you, Judge.
Hey, what do you suggest on my ankle monitor? Just call Miss Priscilla Valadez and say, hey,
Probation will tell you what to do with that.
thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the documents entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I should.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because these are felony convictions, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak with your attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, probation.
Yes, Judge. In regards to the monitor, is on the monitor through the trial services. So
At the end, the judge drops the line that probably stuck with him forever. You are 2 seconds from going to prison. Then she tells him to let that marinate. That's not just a warning. That's a reality check. One wrong move, and his whole life flips instantly.